Hello everyone, and welcome back to Operation Save Digby, Part 9. As you can see, we have Digby's turbo out, and we're going to try to get it apart to see if we had found any damage from the pre-chamber explosion. These are not 13s, they're half-inch, which is unusual for Mercedes.
Good team in there.
Okay, now what you want to do, let me show you. And you can kind of show this. Okay.
Oh yeah, then hammer it.
So you just do a light like that, and once it's loose, then you can go to the ratcheting box if you can get on there. See? But let me see if I've got a half-inch box, because we should use a half-inch box if you can get on it with a half, because these will tend to round out. So let me get a half-inch box that's not ratcheting.
What you need it for. Yeah.
Better.
After using quite a bit of penetrate and the hammer, we finally got it to loosen up. I didn't really realize that at the time this was going to be a sign of things to come. After finally getting it loose, we were able to use our ratcheting wrench, take out the remainder of the bolt. I decided to gain access to the other two bolts that I'd remove this piece and clear it out of the way. I was starting to get a little frustrated, so I went ahead and grabbed the camera and I went over to what my dad and Ryan were working on. So let's go check out the head.
I had these engines go with knocking pistons for over 100,000 miles.
After reading through some of the comments on Digby 8, there's a lot of people out there that think that this head's shot.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I don't think it is. I don't think you do. How can we test to see if it's still sealing?
Yeah, good question, Ryan. You know, I'm looking underneath here, particularly at number 3, and you would think that, you know, these valves would be damaged, and a few people thought maybe there was, you know, some of that shrapnel that was under the valve and holding the valve off the seat, causing the weak compression.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things you can do when you have a head-off car like that is we can do a fluid test to see if the valves are leaking. Okay. So what I've got here is some paint thinner, and we're going to start out by pouring a little bit of paint thinner. This is number 3 intake, and this is number 3 exhaust. So maybe put a tablespoon of paint thinner in there, solvent. And then we'll tip it back down. Let's see if it leaks. Okay. This will be really interesting.
I'm very curious.
All right. Okay, let's hold it right there. Go ahead and wipe that off. Wipe off the face so we don't, and then. Okay, I'm gonna hold it right like that. Wipe that face off again. Okay. I don't see, do you see anything dripping there?
Let me wipe it up underneath here. No.
Yeah, there's no drip. No drip at all. Let's tip it up and see if it's wet.
Okay.
Okay, let me wipe this off again. Get this real dry. Okay, let's tip it back down. Let's sit here for a sec.
It keeps dribbling out of that one.
Yeah. All right, look at that. We've got maybe just a light amount of wetness there, but not enough to be significant. If we had a damaged seat or a damaged valve face there, we would have drips of solvent coming out of those valves. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to have you pull these 2 valves out. Let's check the condition of the valve stems to guide clearances, because if these valves are real loose and sloppy, that could be a reason
Yeah.
for the excess oil consumption.
Okay.
So let's check those next.
Right on.
Some extra solvent here. Let's go ahead and do number 5 too, because I'm sure some people will be curious. Wipe that off quick. Don't let it go down on the face. All right. Now look here. See, it's real dry on number 5.
Nice and dry.
Let's set it down. Make sure it doesn't pour out here. Okay. Let's let it sit there for about 30 seconds. Okay, let's tip it back up and take a peek. Okay, you getting close? Just a slight amount of wetness right there on the exhaust valve. In fact, believe it or not, 5 is worse than number 3. So let's go ahead and do number 4. We knew that had really high compression. So let's make sure, wipe it clean, right there. Okay, let's put some in the number 4 intake. And we'll put some in number 4 exhaust. Okay, wipe that face off a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, let's tip it down. And you know, Ryan, you got to have some really good seating valves to not leak this really thin solvent.
Yeah.
Okay, let's tip it up. Look at that. A little bit of wetness here, a little bit of wetness in back.
Yeah.
Look at that. We've got more leakage in the valves in number 4 than we had on number 3.
So that tells you that that's not their house.
Yeah, at least it's not dripping out. It's obvious we're going to have to do a valve resurfacing on this head if we reuse it. But before we reuse it, we're going to definitely want to have it checked for cracks.
Yep.
Okay, let's lower it down. And why don't you go ahead and pull out the valves on number 5 and number 3, and let's take a close look at those.
Cool.
Okay, great. Here you go. There's something I want to point out that's very interesting. You've removed all these springs and the nuts that hold these valves in place, and look, they're not dropping out. See that? Now, what does that tell you? They're not dropping out.
They're nice and tight.
They're nice and tight, and the seals are good.
Yep.
So right away, I'm going to eliminate this as a problem for the excessive oil consumption. You know, I've removed this seal here, and if you put the valve in there, and if you had all this slop, look at hardly any slop on the valve guide at all.
Yeah, you can't hardly.
Yeah, you can't even hardly. And look at that. See that? The seals are still holding the valves up. So that tells you these exhaust and intake valve guide seals are okay. I mean, I'm going to replace them if we use this head.
Yeah.
But I think we can eliminate the valves as being a problem for the high oil consumption on Digby number 3 cylinder. So now we get to go look at a couple other things. I've got Joel over on the bench over there pulling the turbo apart, and I know that a lot of you wanted to see the inside of the turbo as well.
So I've been working on removing these turbine housing bolts, and I've had 2 that have gotten really stuck. And usually when I've been getting these off, I've been using the box end and hammering it to get it started. But with 2 of these, I can't reach that with a box end, so I'm going ahead and using the open end. But the problem is that's starting to round them out. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get some heat, and we're going to try to heat up this metal to try to get it to expand a bit, and hopefully that'll loosen it up.
Hate that. 9-volt battery.
Right.
You never have a 9-volt battery.
Yeah.
Yeah. This wrench too loose.
Okay. Okay. Is it going or not going? Yeah, we're gonna have to grind it. Okay, let's get some more heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, get some more heat before you hammer it, yeah. Okay, hold on, Joel. Don't do anything until I get over there.
Okay.
Not moving?
Not moving.
Okay.
It's hot enough though. So the heat's not working.
Well, we've tried everything, Joel. I saw you even drive a 12 millimeter open end on there, and it's fitting tight, but that bolt's not moving. And if we break the bolt, then, well, we've got another problem. But I'm going to bring in a special tool here. Take a look at this. This is my rust buster tool. I developed this to remove rusty brake lines. So we're going to try to add some vibration to this bolt head here and see if that would help break it loose a little bit so we can get it out. Watch this. Okay, I think I'm ready now. Hey, give me that hex wrench over there. We'll let that wick in a little bit. Wow. This one is tough. Okay, I got it. Yahoo! Okay, I'm going to rock it back and forth. Go ahead and add some more penetrant. I tell you, if we hadn't had this 12 millimeter to drive on this half-inch head bolt, I don't think we'd ever got it. Okay, a little more penetrant. Okay. Okay. Now we got to get this baby off. Okay, let's see what we can do with a half-inch wrench now. Wow. We keep it rocking back and forth. Put a little right in on the back side of that plate, right there. Okay. we keep it rocking back and forth like that, this is going to prevent breaking this bolt off. Each time, rock it a little bit further. Okay, a little more. Okay, we'll leave that one like that. We're gonna have to loosen the other one and get it coming off together because we're gonna hit the center housing here. All right, you guys, you can do the next one. Not moving, be careful. Maybe you need to do the heat thing. If it's
hammer it back down, I think.
okay. Rock it back and forth. It's not.
No, I
It's
got
not
some
rocking.
heat.
Okay. Yeah, get the heat in there and the vibration. Yeah.
Cooking Digby. Cooking Digby. Digby's puffing again.
Now remember, you said you wanted to save Digby. Still. Okay, just try pulling on it now. Oh, shoot. Okay, let's go ahead and try the vibration. You want to get the...
Where'd you have my safety goggles?
Put them on right over here. You've already started around it here, haven't you?
Yeah.
See if you can hammer it on at that angle.
Can we actually do it?
That one you've already gotten loose, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hang on.
It'd be easy to have a breaker bar that we can throw over it to help us. Vibration work that
That'll
time.
all be. Look at that.
I'd just keep coming back. I think go around it if you try to go.
We did get it to move, didn't we?
Yeah, it did.
Okay. We may have to.
Well, it's perfect. I mean, the valve seal thing was only gonna be like 4 minutes long. It's not an episode. It's not a Digby episode unless we run into some headache.
Oh man. Hang on.
It slides off a lot when you push it back. It is moving back and forth
Yeah.
though, a little bit.
Okay. There we go. I think we can get it now. Watch this. We're going to rock it forward. Is it moving? Yep.
Can we entertain an idea real quick, then?
Sure. Are you thinking?
Because we're having just that little bit of suction seal issue.
Well, we've got it going here, Joel.
Well,
pretty.
no, but I'm just curious if we had.
You want to?
If we had this with like the 1 1/2, like this was just over the bolt.
No, let's try it. Isn't that amazing, Ryan? We would have not gotten that without heat and vibration.
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming. Yeah. You got a glove there, or is it a rag?
It's just a piece of glove.
Yeah. Okay. Can't find.
There we go. No, it's like right on that little cusp of like I need it just. Right there is gonna be perfect. That's the one we need. Yeah. Feels like sliding from the sun.
Okay, so this is 13, so I don't have a half. My 1/2-inch angle head is missing. Okay, now rock it back and forth. Get some more penetrant in there.
Yeah, put some penetrant in real quick.
Back and forth. Once you break that rust loose, yeah, there you go. Just keep going. I'll keep.
It's funny though, I think that glove actually made it just tight enough with the 13 that it didn't round it.
Okay, that's a cool tip.
Here's where.
Critical thinking at its best.
Well,
Yeah.
it works so well with that plastic seal. It just made me think, it's like, well, if there's just that little bit of gap, you don't want paper towel because it'll tear, but the rubberize will just fill the seal and then basically help lock into everything. And it felt like it was actually gripping. I just need an angle.
Now we need a straight one, don't we? Should I have Jerson make a straight one? You're on that. You got the 1/2, right? You want the 1/2? Try this one. Okay, rock it back and forth. Wow.
30 degrees at a time.
Yeah.
So I guess we didn't expect to have to spend all day working on a turbocharger, did we, Joel? Remember, you're the one that wanted to save Digby. Having fun? Are you having? Oh yeah, you're having fun. Look at that. Little by little. You know, if we hadn't had that combination of a 1/2-inch wrench, a 12mm wrench, heat, and vibration, these 2 bolts would have not come out. And Joel got to use some real critical thinking today. He came up with the idea to put a little section of glove down in there to make that 1/2-inch wrench just a little tighter. Take a look what he's doing. The other 2 out, so you got a little more clearance there, but that works good. Good thinking. And for you watching, that's a really good idea. Anytime you're working with an open-end wrench and you've got a hex bolt head that's starting to round out, grab an old rubber glove and put a little piece on there to give a little bit of grab to prevent rounding out the head. Because you all know if you round out the head of those bolts, you're in trouble. Hey.
Don't stop me now. I'm wrenching, having a good time. Coughing up a storm.
Okay, go ahead and move it around. Put it in the car, right? Okay, hang on to that end. Can you get the... Digby's turbocharger throws a sucker punch.
Right in the groin.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is one of the more difficult turbos I've ever seen. Man, it is not moving.
Oh, yeah, it is. Now I can get it out more on this side.
Okay, let me
These roll.
Couple more. Couple more. Here. Oh, it moved. All right. There we go.
Oh, okay. Now,
Okay.
now the bolts will come out.
All right. This is probably my tool of the week. I'm sure some of you are eyeing this punch here. This is one massive punch. Remember, this is brass, prevents damage to steel. And without this, I probably could not have gotten that center section loose from the turbine housing without something like this. So this is one of those tools you might want to get in your toolbox. Notice the custom flaring on the end. That helps you get into really tight places.
Okay, one more bolt. Finger tight and free, and then having too much weight pressure. Okay.
Okay.
Moment of truth. There's the blades. And it looks fine. I mean, there's carbon buildup, but that's normal.
Wow, there's
There's not a ding on here. Let's take a look down in the... I'll tilt it over there. And that's...
What do you guys think? Talk to me.
It's clear.
Yeah, it looks great.
What do the blades look like?
Look at the
The
blades.
blades look perfect.
Oh, gee, they do.
Yeah.
Check for shaft play. Is there much shaft play back?
No, it spins nice.
Oh, gee. Okay.
Okay.
Digby gives us a hug today.
Well, the turbo's clear.
Well, I guess this requires a little reflection, right?
Right.
You're thinking, well, where did all that shrapnel go? Well, where did all that shrapnel from those pre-chambers go anywhere? It doesn't look like it went into the turbo. The pistons and the valves aren't that bad. I think what happened is those pre-chambers probably crystallized and they broke free in very fine powder.
Well, I think that was something we
Yeah.
thought really, really early on before we started to see more, worrying signs. Is we're like, well, maybe it just blew it all out. Maybe
Yeah.
it got so hot that it just basically
Yeah,
crystallized.
and no big chunks like in that other, like in those other pictures we saw from that other customer. So, I'm looking at this turbo, and like you said, there is no damage to these impellers at all, and the bearing even feels tight, spins good. Obviously, we want to reseal it, if we're going to reuse this turbo. But we've checked over the cylinder head.
We've checked over the turbo.
We've checked over the turbo. Nothing, nothing real bad, I would say. But now we got to go after what next?
The piston.
The piston, number 3 piston. So I think in the next episode, they'll get a chance to see us take the transmission off the block, put the block on an engine stand, and remove number 3 piston. You ready for that one?
Ready.
Okay.